Before a heart attack, your body sends a signal. The problem, it's so subtle, most people miss it until it's too late. Now, I want you to pause and really think about this. Have you ever felt so drained that even standing up felt like a chore? Not just tired, I mean exhausted to the bone. Like your energy had been vacuumed out of you. No fever, no obvious illness. Just this creeping, heavy fatigue that doesn't make sense. If you've experienced that or know someone who has, please keep listening. Because this one symptom has been known to show up weeks, sometimes even a full month before a heart attack strikes. And ignoring it could cost you dearly. You see, when people think about heart attacks, they usually picture the big dramatic signs: chest pain, arm numbness, collapsing at work or at home. But for many people, especially seniors, that's not how it starts. The body whispers before it screams. In this video, we're going to talk about a warning sign that almost no one talks about. It's not flashy, it doesn't hurt, but it's deeply dangerous. We're going to look at what it is, why it happens, how it shows up differently in women, and how to know if your body is trying to tell you something important. And make sure you stay with me to the end, because I'm also going to share a simple way to track the sign at home so you can recognize the difference between normal tiredness and a serious red flag. Let's start with the sign itself. It's called profound, unusual fatigue. And before you think, well, of course I'm tired, I'm in my 60s or 70s, let's look closer. This isn't the kind of tired that comes after a long walk or a busy weekend with the grandkids. This is the kind of exhaustion that stops you from making the bed. That makes walking to the mailbox feel like climbing a mountain. That makes you sit down halfway through folding laundry and wonder, why does this feel so hard? Let me tell you about Henry. He's 68 years old, a retired postal worker. For most of his life, Henry's been active. He walks his dog every morning, keeps his garden in shape, and even helps his daughter move furniture when she needs him. But about a month ago, something changed. He started taking long naps in the afternoon. One day he walked halfway around the block and had to sit down on a bench. No chest pain, no shortness of breath, just this strange bone-deep tiredness that wouldn't go away. He thought he was just getting older. But a few weeks later, Henry suffered a heart attack. Fortunately, it was mild. He survived. And when the doctors looked back, they told him something that stuck with him. That fatigue, they said, was your heart struggling. You see, in the early stages, leading up to a heart attack, one or more of the arteries feeding your heart can start to get blocked. Not completely blocked, just enough to make your heart work overtime. Think of it like trying to suck a thick milkshake through a thin straw. It takes effort. Your heart starts pumping harder to get the same amount of blood and oxygen through. And what powers your heart energy? So where does all that energy come from your body? And when your heart starts to pull all the fuel for itself just to keep functioning, there's not much left for everything else. That's why simple daily tasks feel so overwhelming. The energy you normally have to cook, clean, walk, or chat with friends, it's all being rerouted to keep your heart going. A 2003 study published in Circulation, one of the leading cardiology journals, found that over 70% of women who suffered a heart attack reported experiencing this type of extreme fatigue weeks beforehand. That's more than 2/3, not days before, weeks. But here's the heartbreaking part: most of them didn't think it was serious. They thought it was menopause, or stress, or just getting older. And doctors didn't always catch it either, because it's not a classic sign like chest pressure. Now let's pause for a moment and talk about women, because this is incredibly important. Women are far more likely than men to experience non-traditional heart attack symptoms like fatigue, nausea, dizziness, or back pain. That's why women are also more likely to be misdiagnosed or to delay seeking help. Think about Margaret, a 73-year-old retired school teacher. She had no history of heart disease. She watched her diet kept up with yoga classes and even volunteered twice a week at the local library. But for 3 weeks, she felt like she'd been hit by a truck. She couldn't finish a single yoga session. She skipped her library shift 2 weeks in a row. She even joked to her son, "I feel like I'm running on empty." Then one morning, she woke up drenched in sweat and feeling lightheaded. They rushed her to the hospital. It was a heart attack. Not a massive one, but serious enough that she needed surgery. And when they reviewed her symptoms, the cardiologist told her that the fatigue was her first warning sign. Here's what makes this so dangerous. It's the kind of fatigue that doesn't go away after rest. You sleep all night and still wake up tired. You take a nap and still feel drained. It's constant and you can't explain it. That's the key differentiator. Everyone gets tired. But this is not tiredness from poor sleep or a busy day. This is exhaustion without cause, and if it's new, persistent, and unrelieved by rest, your body may be trying to get your attention. So, my friend, if you're sitting there thinking, this sounds like me, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. This might be your opportunity to take a closer look at your heart health. Before we move on, I'd love to hear from you. If this is resonating with you, if you've ever experienced this kind of exhaustion and didn't know what to make of it, please comment below. Just your age and where you're watching from. It helps me know who's out there, and it reminds all of us we are not alone on this journey. Because your body is wise, it often whispers before it shouts. And learning to listen, really listen, could save your life. So now that we've talked about what this unusual fatigue feels like, let's take a closer look at why it happens. Because once you understand the why, it becomes much easier to recognize when something just isn't right. We all know the heart's job is to pump blood about 2,000 gallons every single day. That blood carries oxygen and nutrients to every organ, every muscle, every part of your body. But when the pipes that feed the heart, your coronary arteries, start to narrow even just a little, your heart has to pump harder to get enough blood through. This narrowing usually happens slowly over time due to a buildup of cholesterol and other substances known as plaque. You might not notice anything at first, but the trouble starts when that narrowing reaches a point where it's restricting blood flow during normal activities. Picture this: your heart is working overtime behind the scenes. It's like asking your car to climb a hill with the emergency brake on. It's burning through fuel at a crazy rate, and that fuel is your energy. Dr. Nisa Goldberg, a well-known cardiologist and spokesperson for the American Heart Association, has said something powerful. She explains that fatigue is one of the most commonly overlooked early symptoms of heart problems, especially in women, and it's the one that many patients regret ignoring. She says fatigue is your body's way of saying something is off, and when it lingers and has no clear explanation, it's time to look at the heart. Let's go back to Henry, our retired postal worker. When he came in after his heart attack, the doctors found that one of his arteries was 85% blocked. Not enough to cause chest pain all the time, but more than enough to stress his heart every time he walked the dog or bent down to weed the garden. His heart wasn't getting enough oxygen-rich blood, and it started pulling energy from the rest of his body to keep going. That's why he couldn't finish a simple walk around the block without needing to rest. This is called demand ischemia. It means the demand for oxygen is higher than what the heart can supply. It doesn't always come with sharp pain or fainting. It can show up as crushing fatigue. And if that blockage keeps building, it can eventually cause a full-blown heart attack. Now, here's where things get even more concerning, especially for women. Women often experience heart disease differently than men. While men tend to have the classic symptoms, chest pressure, arm pain, shortness of breath, women may have symptoms that are quieter, more subtle, and easier to ignore. Fatigue, indigestion, nausea, sleep disturbances. These are all common heart-related symptoms in women. In fact, the National Institutes of Health conducted a study that found 43% of women who had heart attacks didn't experience any chest discomfort at all, but over 70% reported unusual fatigue in the weeks leading up to it. That's a huge number. Let's meet Clara. She's 76, a retired librarian from Ohio. She's always been sharp, organized, and deeply independent. Every morning she makes a cup of tea, reads the paper, and does a crossword. But then came a month where she found herself too tired to sit through her morning puzzle. She fell asleep before lunch. Her hands shook a little when she tried to pour her tea. Her daughter noticed it and asked, "Mom, are you okay?" Clara brushed it off. "I'm just getting older," she said. "Maybe I didn't sleep well." But her daughter insisted on taking her to the doctor. And it turned out Clara's heart was in trouble. She had silent ischemia, a lack of oxygen to the heart muscle without the typical warning signs. The fatigue was her only clue. Thankfully, Clara got the care she needed in time. but she nearly missed the chance to act. Now, you may be wondering, how do I tell the difference between everyday tiredness and this kind of dangerous fatigue? It's not always easy, but there's one major clue. This kind of fatigue doesn't go away with rest. You sleep a full night. You wake up and still feel like you've been hit by a bus. You take a nap and it does nothing. You cancel plans not because you're busy, but because you simply don't have the energy. And this lasts for days, sometimes weeks. You might even stop doing the little things you enjoy because they just feel like too much effort. You stop gardening. You skip your walk. You sit down more than you used to. And you can't explain why. This kind of exhaustion is your heart waving a red flag. One study out of the University of Arkansas found that women over 65 who reported new unexplained fatigue had a significantly higher chance of experiencing a cardiac event within 30 days. That's not meant to scare you, but to empower you. Because when you know what to look for, you can act early. Here's the truth, friend. Your body's not trying to fool you. It's trying to protect you. But you have to listen. You have to notice when the tiredness is different. When it lingers, when it starts changing your routine, when you start avoiding things you used to enjoy. That's when it's time to speak up. Tell your doctor. Don't minimize it. Say something like, I've been feeling drained for no reason, and it's not getting better. And if your doctor brushes it off, get a second opinion. Because your heart doesn't care if someone else thinks you're overreacting. It only cares that it's running out of steam, and you deserve to catch it before it becomes something worse. If you're still watching and finding these lessons valuable, please comment the number 1 below, just so I know you're still with me. Thank you for your time and trust. It means the world. We're not done yet. There's still one more powerful insight. You need to hear something that could help you recognize this warning sign before it turns into a full-blown emergency. Let's keep going. We've talked about how fatigue can be a serious warning sign of a heart attack, especially in seniors and especially in women. But there's one final piece of this puzzle that ties everything together. And that's this kind of fatigue doesn't go away with rest. That's the single most important thing to remember. See, we all feel tired from time to time. Maybe you stayed up late watching a movie or didn't sleep well because of a noisy neighbor. That kind of tiredness makes sense. You rest and your body recharges. You wake up refreshed, ready to go again. That's how it's supposed to work. But what if it doesn't? What if every morning feels like you never went to bed? What if no amount of rest brings your energy back? That's what sets this apart from regular fatigue. When your heart is struggling, when one of your arteries is partially blocked and your heart muscle isn't getting enough oxygen, your entire system has to compensate. It's like trying to run a marathon while holding your breath. You burn through your energy stores just trying to survive the day. Now let's talk about George. He's 74, a retired mechanic who used to take pride in fixing things around the house. But over the course of 2 weeks, his wife noticed a change. George, who once couldn't sit still, had started napping for hours during the day. He skipped his morning walk. He said he felt wiped out all the time. He even fell asleep in the middle of watching his favorite baseball team. He told his doctor, I don't know what's wrong. I sleep plenty. I'm not stressed. I'm just exhausted. His doctor ordered some tests, and what they found was alarming. George's heart was severely oxygen deprived. One artery was nearly 90% blocked. He was days away from a heart attack. This was no coincidence. The exhaustion he felt was his body's way of sounding the alarm. Here's the scientific backing for this. A 2019 study in the Journal of the American Heart Association confirmed that persistent, unexplained fatigue in older adults was a strong predictor of underlying cardiac ischemia. That's when your heart isn't getting enough blood flow, even if there's no pain or classic symptoms. The researchers found that even in patients without chest pain or breathlessness, fatigue alone was enough to warrant deeper heart evaluation. And the sooner it was addressed, the better the outcomes. In simple terms, your body doesn't always shout when something is wrong with your heart. Sometimes it just sighs, quietly, heavily, and endlessly. So what can you do? You start by paying attention. Track your energy patterns, not just day to day, but across a few weeks. Are you more tired than usual? Is it affecting your normal routines? Are you canceling things, skipping meals, lying down more than you used to? Are you still tired after a full night's sleep? Keep a simple journal or note on your phone. Write down how you feel each morning and afternoon. Rate your energy on a scale from 1 to 10. Look for patterns. And if your numbers stay low, if you're consistently below a 5, and there's no clear reason like illness or emotional stress, it's time to bring that up with your doctor. Now, I'm not here to tell you to panic. There are many causes of fatigue, thyroid issues, poor sleep medication, depression. But here's the key. If your tiredness is new, persistent, and unexplained, it's worth checking your heart. You are not being dramatic. You are being proactive, and proactive people live longer, healthier lives. Let's be honest, how many times have we said, I'm just tired and brushed it off? How many times have our friends or partners told us to rest or take a nap or blamed it on aging? But this is where we flip the script. This is where we listen, where we say, hold on, this isn't normal for me. Because the earlier you spot the signs, the more likely you are to stop a heart attack before it happens. You can get tested. A simple stress test, an EKG, or a blood test can reveal a lot. And if something is off, your doctor can take steps, medication, lifestyle changes, maybe a procedure to open up that blocked artery before it closes entirely. That's what happened for Clara. That's what saved George. That's what gave Henry a second chance. And it's what could protect you, too. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with something hopeful. You are not powerless. Your body is not your enemy. It's your most loyal companion. And it's always talking to you through energy, through rhythm, through small, steady signals. All you have to do is listen. So if something feels off, if you're sleeping but never rested, if walking across the room feels like climbing Everest, if your energy has vanished and nobody can explain why, pause, breathe, and take it seriously. Because that fatigue might be your heart's quiet cry for help. And you, my friend, have the wisdom and strength to hear it. Let's take care of ourselves and each other. There's still so much life ahead, so much joy to experience, and you deserve to enjoy every bit of it with your heart strong and your spirit full. Now I'd love to hear from you. What part of today's video really hit home for you? Was there something that made you think, that's me? Please share it in the comments. Even a few words could help someone else feel seen. We're building a community here, a place where health and heart go hand in hand. And if this message helped you today, please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss an important health insight like this one. You are not alone on this journey. We're walking it together. Here's to living your best life at every age.